What's going on, you bunch of larrikins? In today's episode, we're going to be taking my 80 series interior from this to this. So let's get into it.
Alrighty, so for a good portion of this video, the audio is absolutely cooked, so I apologize in advance. Anyway, here we are unboxing the AEST unit, so I'll walk you through what we've got in the box. A few stickers, general quick start guide, outlining everything you need to know. Next, we've got the wiring diagram for the back of the head unit, which shows you which plugs go where, reverse cameras, etc. Very handy bit of gear. Up next, we've got our 4G boosters, just to help boost that signal when in the car. Next, we've got our USB cables, which help with Apple CarPlay as well as general phone charging. After that, we've got our GPS module, which helps with the maps and obviously so your car knows where it is in the world. Then we've got our microphone, very simple, obviously used for phone calls while driving in the car. And then next up, we've got our ISO adapter harness. So this is essentially what plugs from your factory Toyota loom into your AEST unit. So if your car's factory loom is completely untouched, then this is a very plug and play job. And then finally, we have our optioned front and rear reverse cameras for the head unit. Up next, this is the computer that actually drives the head unit itself, which is where you plug all of the wires into the back of, and then you mount the screen to the front of. Now, last but not least, the massive 13.2 inch screen from AEST. This thing is unreal. Full 1080p, 60 FPS. This thing is literally a MacBook, and you just have to wait and see what it looks like when it's mounted in the car. Now, all that's left to do is pull the old head unit out, starting with the trim surround. There's 4 bolts hiding behind the ashtray, as well as this other little dongle at the top of the trim. Then grab yourself some King Chrome trim remover tools and pop it all off. Once the trim's popped off, all you have to do is unplug the plugs connecting to the back of the buttons. Now you're left with just the head unit. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts to undo it. Undo those bolts and the whole head unit and bracketry will come straight out. And you never would have guessed this is what it looks like behind the head unit. So for some reason, when people do their aftermarket head units, especially back in the day, they'll just splice it up, chop it, join it all together in a very weird fashion. I don't know if it was hard to come by these many years ago, but ISO adapters are your best friend. You can easily buy an ISO adapter which connects from the factory Toyota loom into the aftermarket loom, which will then connect up to your head unit. But for some reason, this just wasn't done in this car, nor was it done in my old 80 series. Just another botched job, but it's alright, we'll fix it up. It's just going to add a bit of time to the project.
Oh, there's a lot going on in there. So it's magically nighttime, and this is what our wires look like. This is where we're up to at the moment. Big shout out to whoever did the aftermarket unit in this before me. You really stuffed me over, and yeah. Anyway, so it's really helpful using this wiring diagram to understand the loom that is provided from AEST. So this is the AEST loom. This is one of 2 parts of the ISO I'm using to connect up to the factory wiring in there. So factory loom colors are different to the ISO colors, which then plugs into here, which these are all different again. But it's easy to match up these colors with the factory colors using some online forums I found. So these are all stripped back. And this is the second part of the ISO, so these ones are also stripped back. Now it's time to solder the correct wires together, and hopefully I get it right. I guess we'll find out. And somehow, by a miracle, well, not really. I mean, I did all the wiring correct, how I thought. Just ignore the fact that I've used electrical tape instead of heat shrink. I just didn't have any, and this will be fine. Got all those connected up to what I think is correct. Pretty sure that's for the antenna. I'll come back to that one. And pretty sure this green one is for dimming of the head unit when you turn the headlights on. No idea what that one is for, but I don't think it was connected up in the first place. Following this down, we have our ISO plugs, which is what we just soldered to the factory loom. Then we have our AEST plug that goes into the back of the head unit. And there we go. So as you can see, it's just freshly loaded up. This is how it comes. I put the Spotify thing in the corner because I was messing around a little bit. This thing is absolutely huge. You can see it sitting in my car right now. It's basically an iPad, even bigger. It's like a Mac. It's late now, so tomorrow morning I'll wake up, get the rest of the wiring finished in there, mount the unit, and then mount the screen as well. So yeah, big night on the soldering iron, and I'll probably have some serious lead poisoning from all those fumes, but you know, it's all right. I'm just super glad that it's working, and hopefully we can get it all finished off tomorrow. If I didn't have to do all this soldering and all this wiring, if no one had touched the original factory loom, this thing would literally be a 2-second job to get the head unit running. Like I still have to do the cameras, the front and rear cameras, but other than that, super plug and play. So I'm very happy with how easy this head unit is to install straight out of the box. Alrighty, so it's the next day, working on the head unit again. I watched the footage back yesterday and I realized my microphone levels were absolutely through the roof. So I've tried to turn it down a little bit and I hope it's a lot better. What I've done is I've pulled it all back out again, pretty much done there, a couple more wires, and I've pulled the trim off of here so I can now route the microphone. Now this is obviously used for when you're in the phone in the car to talk through the hands-free in the Apple CarPlay, and it's just got a little clip on the back of it, so we're going to use that clip to secure it up here just on top of the trim. So now comes the fun bit of connecting up the reverse camera. So what I've done now is pop the tailgate down, taken off the big trim, and now I'm accessing the back section here. Now what I'm going to do is try and connect the reverse camera through the factory loom, as you can see down in here. We've got the head unit end of the reverse wire here through the dash. Now I'm starting the process of running this wire all the way from the front to the back of the car where the camera is, all the way back there. I've pulled off all the trim here, down the side. I don't know if you can see, but all the trim going back there too, so it's just a clear path. And as I'm running it back, I'll be tapping it into the reverse light on the tail light, in underneath here, and then hopefully through the little factory grommet in the tailgate, and then here's the reverse camera. But there's been a few little delays and I'll show you what they are now. Jacob, what's happening, mate?
So pretty much over this weekend, we rebuilt my swivel hubs. We pulled the diff out and it pretty much became a whole brand new diff operation, missing 3 teeth off the original diff, which was kind of annoying, but play the game, and I guess that's what happens. So we replaced it, rebuilt the swivel hubs, and we've got Alex here. Alex was a really big help with this. Pretty much all that's left for today is to get the brakes back together, clean everything up, put the wheels back on, take it for a drive, see what it does. That's it.
So basically, Alex had no idea what he was doing, so he just watched my video that I posted on YouTube. I had to rebuild your swivel hub, so he watched that and he was like, oh wow, now I know how to do it. So
yeah, it's so easy.
It's so easy. So yeah, if you haven't watched it, go and watch that video a few videos ago. Bang, the reverse camera is all tapped in to the tail light, through the tailgate to where that camera is mounted, and this is me just following you along the wiring. So as you can see, it's underneath all of the trim here, following through into the driver's seat, underneath all the trim, and then up behind the dash. And basically now I'm just making sure it all works. Doing a few tests on it, letting it sit for a little while, making sure the connections are good. And as you can see, chucking into reverse now, bang, the image is up on the screen, crystal clear, 1080p camera, it looks absolutely unreal. This is what we're working with for the offset. Looks very, very silly, but you know, it's what we have to do to make it work. Again, these units aren't meant for 80 series, it's a universal unit, so I'm not surprised it doesn't fit. But that's sort of the fitment and clearance we have. And it's gonna sit around this height, and that's maximum play on 3rd gear, so shouldn't hopefully hit the screen. Now it's just a case of me lining the screen up straight and sticking it on properly, but that's the view we got there. I'm recording this audio many weeks in the future, and I just want to say this double-sided tape held up exceptionally well. Even through some tough four-wheel driving, which you'll see in some later episodes, it just didn't fall off. So if you're keen to see me get out and wheel this thing for the first time, make sure you subscribe and stick around. Next week's episode, we'll go out and hit the tracks. Bang! Look at these things. You might be wondering what they are. They're the Mud Tamer 3D scanned floor mats suited to the 80 series. These are the only ones like it on the market where Mud Tamer has actually scanned the inside of an 80 series. So these things essentially lock into place all around the floor of the 80 series and really seals off any possibilities of dirt or mud getting underneath onto the carpet when you are four-wheel driving. Now, if you're anything like me, I cannot seem to keep the floor of my 80 series clean. I'll chuck in some clips now. This is the current state, and I haven't even been four-wheel driving, I haven't taken it off-road. This is literally just from me getting in and out of the car, wiring my head unit. Absolutely filthy. So yeah, I'll show you just how easy it is to install these Mud Tamer floor mats. I have to crouch down a little bit so you can see me, but it's as easy as ripping the old floor mats out. So get these ones out of here. These are actually quite nice, to be honest. Besides where I've just chucked bits of oil on it because I'm silly. Old floor mats, gone. You can see this is the passenger side just due to the trim here and the trim on the side of the door, as well as the Mud Tamer logo is facing outwards. So I'll chuck it in and I'll show you what it looks like. Now I don't have a vacuum with me at the moment, so it's a bit silly, but I'm just gonna sort of shuffle all this crap out and then chuck the new one on top. Don't worry, I'll get a vacuum on it eventually. I'll make it nice. All right, that's as best as I can do right now without a vacuum. So it takes a little bit of moving around, but then you'll find the sweet spot where it sits nicely and all sort of tucks in the right area. And there you go, all installed. And if I get the zoom in there, as you can see, it follows all the contours of the floor pan and sits in really nicely. Now, if you are looking at picking up a set of Mud Tamers for your four-wheel drive, they suit a whole range of makes and models. And if you happen to find a set that you like, that suits your vehicle, make sure you use the code Larrikins10 and save 10% off of your order. So if you like what you see here, each time you use that code, it helps us out a little bit as well. So we really appreciate the support. Now, moving on to the final mod. Now, I wasn't trying to go over the top with this interior. This is sort of the initial fit out of trying to change the overall look that I'm going for, but it still seems a little bit bare. It's missing a little bit of customization. So the team at Grab On has hooked me up with some paracord handles. As you can see up there, I haven't reattached the grab handle from when I wired the microphone, because even though I'm a taller guy, having a lifted car, it's definitely hard to get in sometimes, especially when you're all flexed up on tracks and whatnot. Especially having passengers, they absolutely hate getting inside of my car. So the factory grab handles get utilized all day, every day. And it's such a simple mod that can really change the inside of your interior. So let's pull out the goodies and I'll show you what we've got. So I've decided to go with this custom black and white paracord grip handle, which also has their more woven design. If you jump on their website, they do plenty of different designs, different colorways, heaps of colors to choose from, actually hundreds. So there's always going to be a color for your application. Also in the kit comes with a couple stickers, also a Velcro patch if you want to chuck it on your drawers or anywhere else. And I've opted to go with the black stainless steel washers to suit the black ends of the paracord. So seeing though this handle's already off, I'll show you how simple it is to install them. So of course your first step is to remove the existing handles. Very simple job. Then grab your first washer and bolt through the washer, through the paracord, position it on your pillar. Then grab your second washer and just repeat the same process. Now before you tighten it up all the way, align it so you're happy with the position and then just nip it up lightly. There you go, custom grab handle done. Now I'm starting to lose daylight, but I just quickly want to show off this Averse head unit and show you all the features it has. Now here it is, obviously looking absolutely immaculate. You can see it really fills up the space nicely, and the quality on the head unit is just insane. So this is just your standard Apple CarPlay that everyone's used to. You can go to your Spotify, go to your maps, view all of your apps here on the home, scroll through your apps here. Here we are on the standard Android Auto configuration. Now, I haven't touched this at all. This is exactly how it comes. So that's why all the time and date are wrong, etc. But due to being Android Auto, you can add any apps, do whatever you want to do to it. So we've got Spotify and YouTube Music. As you can see, you've got Chrome, Play Store, all that fun stuff. You can add any apps you'd like. So here we've got Netflix, and this is the Apple CarPlay. So now we're back to CarPlay. So yeah, starting to lose daylight, but I just wanted to chuck this in quickly. The head unit is absolutely fantastic and I'm super happy with my purchase. Again, the setup I did to mount the head unit to the actual DIN itself is only temporary. Ideally, I'm gonna make up some custom brackets, maybe 3D print it to house the screen, and then therefore clip into the little computer thingy a lot more stably and a lot more securely, because I really don't trust this double-sided tape. I feel like one bump and the whole head unit's gonna fly off. But stay tuned on our Instagram, stay tuned with Averse as well, as we're gonna be working together on this. And if you are considering getting one for your 80 series, probably hold up just a little bit until we get these custom brackets made up. And as soon as we get them made up, if you are keen, we'll let you know on our Instagram. So yeah, that's the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. I tried to do as best as I could with all the filming and trying to do all the wiring for the head unit, etc. It was such a headache just because I've never done any wiring before. If all of your wiring is standard, you won't have the issues I had. This is honestly quite a very plug and play unit. Anyway, head unit in, floor mats in, grab handles in. The interior of this car, even though we didn't do much, looks absolutely brand new and $1 million. Again, stay up to date on Instagram and on our website to know when we're posting videos and new merch drops. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.